guys, welcome back to the shop, and I know I got an exciting one for you this week. So as you guys probably know, I do like to pride myself on being able to grab weathered old boards and fix them up into something nice. It's a lot more satisfying to build something out of wood that you find instead of wood that you buy from the store. So when I was able to find this piece of lumber, I knew I was going to build something special. Well, let me tell you, my work's going to be cut out for me on this one. So it's not too often you find lumber like this laying around on free wood piles. So this is a live edge piece of wood. What makes it live edge is that the sides are not cut off, so you can see the outside of the tree. It's a pretty big style right now to take pieces of wood like this and turn them into furniture. And let me tell you, I was super excited when I was able to find this. But as you can see, I definitely have my work cut out for me. So what I'm going to end up doing with this piece of wood is building a table with it. This is pretty darn long, so I'm going to end up cutting it in half, so this will have two shelves, both live edge, and it's going to be sweet. So let's get started on this. So when working with a live edge piece, the first thing you want to do is try your best to remove any bark or any other material that may be on your piece of wood. I'm using a putty knife just because I know it's not sharp and it won't actually cut into the wood when I'm trying to remove all of this bark. You want to also make sure that any knots in the wood are removed. Over time they can move and distort your wood, so it's best just to take them out right away. So since this board is so weathered, I'm going to run it through the planer a couple times to get rid of this top coat, and on the other side too. I was thinking about leaving it because I do honestly like this old weathered look, but this thing is pretty warped and it's cupped. So if I am going to make this into a table, I do have to make it more practical and actually straighten it out. So I'm going to shove this through our planer, make sure it's nice and flat, good to go. Now you can see what I was talking about when I said that it was bowed. So now you can see how drastically different this is, and how bowed this was. I put this through the planer a lot of times, and you can still see that there's still some of the old weathered on here. But for the most part, we got a nice straight board. It doesn't have that weathered look anymore, but that's okay. That's what stain's for. So we're going to go ahead and sand the rest of this board to get these imperfections out. And when we're sanding, we got to make sure that we hit this spot really good. Make sure all that bark is off. And it's nice and smooth so that nothing ends up peeling up and ruining your stain or finish. So for this project, since there was so much weathered material that I ended up having to take off, I started with a 60 grit sandpaper. Usually when I start on these projects, whoop, I got some dirt on the camera. I start off with 100 grit, and then I move to a 220 to finish it off and smooth it up. And don't forget, stay hydrated. So here is our freshly sanded board. And you can definitely tell the difference between what it is now and what it was. So obviously I'm not going to have a table this long. The board is a little bit over 8 feet. I'm going to cut it into two 4-foot sections. The thicker part right here, this 4-foot chunk, is going to be the top shelf, while this smaller piece will be on the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and then chop this up into 4-foot sections, and then we're going to start on the legs. Okay, so this is about what we're going to be looking at. Pretty cool. But now, we gotta start on the legs. Alright, that wasn't very smart. So I want all of this to be hardwood. That's why this is so heavy. This is a pretty heavy piece. Quick workout. Alright, no more playing around. So I want this to have smaller legs, that's why I'm going with the hardwood. I want the focus to be on the live edge pieces, not the legs. So I want to put them as small as possible. And that's why I'm going with the hardwood, so it has that strength. My legs are going to be 1.5 by 1.5, and I think that'll be small enough, yet strong enough for this table. Okay, so we got all of our legs cut out. I did end up just doing 1 inch by 1.5 inches. I thought 1.5 by 1.5 looked a little too bulky. I like the skinnier kind of look of them on the side view. So that's what I did with that. And now we're actually going to start making our frames. I also got these little pieces cut out. I had to do some estimating about how big I want these spaced out. I'm going to have these legs spaced out 4.5 inches, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but this live edge board is not that wide. This is going to be quite a skinny table, so that's what it is. But with these legs, I'm going to make 2 separate sets of them, and they're going to end up looking a little bit like this. This is what I'm going to try and make out of those legs. These are going to be the 2 legs, and then a top and a bottom for the top shelf. The top piece is just going to go right on top. And then the second shelf is just going to go right on here. I'm probably going to have to cut some inserts on the side of this so that the second shelf can fit in there. I never really plan out these projects, which, thinking about it, I probably should start. But I've never seen a live edge table with 2 actual live edge shelves in it. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to turn out, but I really hope it turns out good. And if it doesn't turn out good, hey, maybe I just got to start drinking less of these. Or more. But that's the plan. I'm going to make 2 of these frames. I'm going to connect them using dowels since the pieces are so small. You can't really put a nail or a screw in them. So I'm going to drill in some dowels and we'll glue this thing up. We got legs. These are pretty sweet. Kind of look like stilts. Okay, so don't try that. So this is theoretically what the table is going to end up looking like. Except for this piece. But this piece is going to go on the second shelf. And as you can see, it doesn't fit. So what I'm going to have to end up doing is cutting in square notches on here so that we can fit this board inside of this piece for our second shelf. So we got to map out where we got to cut, and then cut out those notches. Oh God! So I wanted my legs 5 feet in from the edge of board. Measured 5 feet in, found the center of my board, and I measured 2.25 inches on each side. So I made these gaps 4.5 inches. Same thing over here, 5 inches in, 2.25 each way. And then these are my notches that I'll be taking out. So here are my notches, brought to you by the one and only multi-tool. Let's see if it fits. Alright, it's going to be like a puzzle. Whew. I did not rehearse this. Hopefully it works out. Whew, it's tight. So here's my attempt on a shelved live edge unit. I know that people might say that I ruined it, but I kind of like the look. And here we go. Not too bad. But I'm not going to leave it natural like that. I'm going to throw some stain on it, so start on that. Okay, so we're going to start staining. I'm going with a golden pecan color for the top pieces. I want a light stain so you can really see the grain of the wood and actually tell that it's a live edge piece. And for the legs, I'm going with a coffee gel stain. This is a really dark stain. It's almost going to make it look black. And I think the contrast between the two is going to work pretty well together. Looks like it's all dry, so let's put it together. Hey, this is looking pretty cool to me. So our next step is actually going to be securing these onto the legs. So I'm going to be securing this by putting screws up through the crossbar into the board. Down here I'm just going to mark out where I'm going to drill my 2 holes to guide the screw. Well, that's never happened. Okay, attempt number 2. I made my guide holes a little bit bigger. I want to emphasize, hopefully that helps. There. And after screwing down the top the same way, I'm proud to present the final project. So here was my attempt at a live edge table. And after screwing everything together, it did turn out pretty solid. There's not too much movement in this. I realize it's no dining room table, but for a long end table like this that's going to hold pictures and decorations, this is going to be great. Yeah, kind of like that. And I do gotta admit, this is probably one of my favorite projects. So before I sign out, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.